Om, me Brahman protect us both, the teacher and the student equally. May He enable us to share the benefit of our learning equally. May we be equally strong to grasp the meaning of the learning. May the learning be equally fruitful to us. May we never be jealous of each other. Peace, peace, peace. So we are on the Kathopanishad. Who can say where did he end? Which page? 124. We read that or we will read it? Okay. So what did he read? Who can say? Okay. Okay. So we are reading this chapter and this very important part where it said that the sensate experience of this world, the name and form, the object of the taste, of the touch, of hearing, who, all our experiences of joy, you know, we all know. How do you know? But which factor is there, which consciousness is there behind by which we know? That was the question. And the Yama said that in the verse number 3, that it is by that Brahman. Etad Vaitat, page 118, you find, you have read it. These are vital verses. You have to meditate every day on this. These are not just reading. If you want to get the benefit of the Upanishad, then you will have to use it as a tool to remember every day. You test something. By whom you test it? By the tongue? Or the nervous system? Or the neurons of the brain? What? What is that? You see something. What? The eyeballs? All the nervous system brain carrying the sensation? That one? What? What is that? By whom you experience all the objects of the five senses? Of the five senses. And know that that is the object you asked, O Nachiketa. You wanted to know that truth? And that is that truth. So it is, you read, finish your Kathopanishad reading. Done here. If you really want to get the benefit of this, this is the end of reading. Now sit and think day and night. What is that? What do you want? How I am seeing, how I am hearing, how I am perceiving, tasting, touching, all the five senses. Always we are experiencing something. By whom? Yena rupam rasangandam sabdans parsans chamaitunan ete naiva vijanati kimatra parishishyate etad vaitat. You asked me the question. That is the response. What is the truth beyond birth and death? You ask that question. This is the response by which you perceive everything of the sensate universe and you feel joy or suffering or excitement or its opposite. By whom? That consciousness. And that is the consciousness that you are. That is the truth you are asking for. Then again he continued in the next verse, page 119, that swapnantam yagritantam chubhu yenanupashyati mahantam vivumatmanam matva dhiro nasochati. The dhira, the people of calm and cool mental condition, yogis, they don't grieve for anything. Why? Matva. By meditating on that, by reflecting on that, analyzing that. What is that? The Shapna Antam Jagaritantam. This awakened state. Till the end of the awakening state. Till the end of your dream state. Yena cha ubho yena cho. Yena cha ubho yena anupashyati. Ubho, these two states, is experienced by whom? Who says? This is my awakened experience. This is my dream experience. Who? What is that? By whom you experience that. Then that is Mahantam Vibhum. That is the Mahanta, the grand, great Vibhu, the all pervaded, vast, infinite. That Atmanam, that is the Atman. Matva, knowing this, there is no question of bereavement and no one grieves for anything. The grandest truth. That's why Swamiji used to love it. It's such a poetic Upanishad. And at the same time, it's a wonderful poetry to think about the truth of life. It's at a very realistic point. You need not have to go to believe something, to draw some argument from someone, some logic. It is your experience. The experience of the sages. Sages are hitting you directly. Tell me, how do you see something? How do you say I like it? How do you say I dislike it? What is that consciousness? By all your five senses. Eyes, ears, nose, throat, tongue, taste, touch. What is that? By which you do, that is the truth you are seeking for. Just try to feel every moment what I am feeling. This excitement, this failure, this loss, this gain. It's all are coming like a film before me, and I am experiencing, being identified with it. But that is the consciousness. Your dream state, your waking state, ubho yena bijanati. These two, ubho, yena, by whom? Bijanati. Not only you experience it. You say, this morning I have a very good time. This morning I had to go through a very serious situation. Who says that? With consciousness tells you that. What is that? That is knowing that you become a person of calm and serene and mental poise. And you don't grieve for anything. Then it is that by that consciousness it is perceived. And everything is appearing and disappearing, coming and going. So for whom you will cry? Or what is your loss? How there be any loss in it? How there be any gain in it? There is a changing thing, going and coming, all these things. Knowing that. Next, we have read that also. Yaimam 121. Madhyadang Veda Atmanam Jivavantika 121. Ishanam Bhuta Bhavyasya Natatu Vijigupshate Etad Vaitat. So, Yaimam Madhyadam. That who is here, the person who knows the individual self, in spite of its enjoying the fruits of action. See, you see something, you experience something. The fruits of your good action, bad action. This is the physical level you are doing. But who is experiencing? Find the experiencer. We don't dive deep into our experience. We say, I am sad. Sad is a feeling. Sadness is an expression. Experience. Who experiences that? You say, I could not sleep last night. There's an experience. I could not sleep is an experience. Who experienced that? You say, I was so tired. There's an experience. And then who experienced that? Go back. It is a very simple question. To find God, going to different pilgrimages and rolling in the ground and howling and standing and making a mark of spirituality. And this is a very simple thing. Question yourself. What is that? Who is experiencing all this? Experiencing those experiences of the sensate experience in which I live, breathe, eat, sleep, cry, and jump in joy and sadness, fall into the sadness. What is that? Imam, so that person who knows the individual self, in spite of his enjoying the fruits of action, to be the Lord of the past, present, and future, and who finds himself close to him, that big eye, he realizes his unity with him. He has no reaction to be afraid of anything. This truly is that self. Oh Nachiketa, you asked for that. You wanted to know that. Tell me what to do now? Sit and think and really dive deep. Too much reading is only cluttering our brain. That's why Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. The whole process of Vedanta is very simple. What the sages are saying, you have heard it, we have heard it. Now dive deep. It's a direct statement of experience. And who is experiencing? It's a question. Just you explore and you find the solution. You don't need any feather touch to give you immediate chakra uplifting, kundalini jagaran. It's not like that. It's a deep question. To find it here now, people are very much fascinated to get chakra meditation and this and whether kundalini is jagaran or head is reeling or not. But they don't take the simple formula of inquiring into the every blinking of your eye, who is experiencing that blinking. So this is the point. And we have read this verse also, Yaimam Yapurvam 123. But it says, Ya Purvam Tapasho Yatamadhya Purvam Majayata. He who is able to see distinctly that being who preceded the elements, even these elements, 5 elements, air, water, fire, all these 5 elements was created. Who was there before? Firstborn from consciousness, who is the heart of everything. In its body and organs, all products of the elements, he truly sees Brahman. This truly is that, O Nachiketa, you asked. Guham Pravishya. It's a very beautiful verse. Verse number 6 we read, Ya Purvam Tapaso Yatam Advya. Advya means water, earth. All the 5 elements. Ya Purvam, who was there before? Jatam, they have been born. Before these were born, he was there. That's the question. Always, the sages are trying to help us so much, trying to look deep inside little bit, go little deep. And so Ramakrishna, that's why he sang the song. Dub 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 shagore amar mon. Dive deep, oh my mind, into the depth of the heart. No? But we want to float in the surface only. We don't want to dive deep. So if we dive deep, really it is a real revelation. Every moment we can really feel what we are losing every second. Experiencing that we are ignorant about it. And we are searching for God. Where is God? Where is God? God will come one day and like a monkey he will drop before our eyes and we will say, oh, I have seen a monkey. In every split second is getting the touch of that consciousness, touch of God. But ignoring that, we are trying to. So this is bringing God into our every moment's consciousness. And understand, even if you look at the world made of the 5 elements, this verse helps us to think, Ya Purvam Yatamadhya. He who was born before the Advya means this earth, air, fire, element, all these 5 elemental things. Purvam, even before that, Ajayata, he was there. And that same reality, Guhang Pravishya Tishtantam, that same reality again has entered into the deepest depth of your heart, residing in the lotus of your heart. Guham, Guha is the cave. The heart is considered here is like a cave. And in that he has hidden himself. That's why you don't see. Question is that he is here, but you don't see. It is in the Guha, Hridaya Guha, the cave of the heart. Pravishya Tishtantam. He is sitting there and smiling. It is like a hide and seek play. We are seeking for God and God smiles. Hey, you are seeking for me, but your seeking is not possible if I am not here. Your brain will not function if I am not here. Your search, your quest will not happen. Your argument, your understanding will not happen if I am not there. But I am hiding in your heart. And you fool, you do not know me and you are searching everywhere. Jo bhutevir vyapashyata. Bhutevi, those are vyapashyata means who sees distinctly. He's here and he's seeing that distinctly. And that is the truth, what you are seeking for. Oh Nachiketa, that was your question. You want to know that, which is beyond all duality and all existence. Last part we said, again, the same way, trying to imprint on our mind, yapranino shammavati aditir devatamai guhang pravishyatishthantim yahute vir vyajayata etadvaitat. Many people memorize these verses. It helps us. Suddenly, so many thoughts come. If one can memorize this and really read it very seriously, then one word you start and your thought will be processing and going behind the apparent consciousness to that eternal consciousness standing behind. So, ya pranena sambhavati. Here the suggestion, the self of all deities. You see, all, Hindu idea is that they don't look at the sun as sun, earth as earth, moon as moon. They always think that there is some conscious entity, conscious being. They call devata, gods. God means dibdhatu. Dibdhatu means who manifests, so effulgent, the effulgence. So there is some effulgence being behind this material sun. That's called Aditya Purush. That Purush, that consciousness which is Aditya in form of light. So, yeah, you see the self of all deities, all these different ideas of Varuna, the fire god, rain god, sun god, moon god, Mother Earth god. Everywhere Hindus have the wonderful idea to see the consciousness in everywhere. And the foolish people do not understand, they say you are idolaters. They don't understand the philosophy of spiritual life. Idolater, no, we are not worshipping idol. We are not saying, oh, clay, I love you. We say, oh, Mother Earth, I love you. They don't say, oh, sun, I love you. No, oh, sun God, I love you. So there is the presence of the God, means the consciousness in a simplistic language. So the self of all the deities, this inner self of all the deities, Aditi, etc., manifests herself as the cosmic energy. That behind is manifested in the cosmic level as different elements. She is the soul eater and she is also the five elements. She is present in the heart of every being. If a spiritual seeker identifies himself with her, he realizes Brahman. This truly is that self, O Nachiketa, you asked about. Here suggestion is that a spiritual seeker should be able to see Brahman in the cosmic energy. This energy is in all deities. Now, we can say cosmic Brahman is a word only. Modern science can easily accept it is an energy. So the cosmic energy, what we find, that is behind this, all this movement, all this existence. Modern science has come up to this point. But it is said that that energy, behind that energy is the real consciousness. Go one step. deep, not through the telescope and microscope. It will not be able to perceive it, but it should be by intuition, by deep study and deep contemplation. Manana nididhyasana. Contemplate, 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 and then you find. And idea is that matter and element, now we know it is no more a distinction. Science has come, helped us this way to understand, which our Upanishad have understood long, long back. There is matter and energy and not two. It is also matter is energy in another form, or energy is matter in another form. It is all one in its essence. And now that far we know. But behind that energy which sustains us, that energy which gives us to think, see, feel, experience, that is called that Brahman we have to go. And that is that question, oh Nachiketa, you asked me and you want to clarify that. Now, next verse, today's reading, this is all preambling, but I am doing it again to only to request you all, don't read this book. It is not a history book, not a novel. It is a book of contemplation. Please do take the advantage of this. Read this. Think when you walk. When you sit for a moment, think, who is behind me, this consciousness? What is going on in the whole experience of the daytime? What is that behind me? Just think a little, and then you touch God. We can touch God every second if we are aware of this analysis, this analytical path. It is analytical now, rather I'll say the experiential path. You experience every day, and only to recognize that this experience is happening because of that reality which is called the one consciousness. And that is to be known only. You see, the object, all these verses, the Guru, God Yama, is teaching the student, but he is coming back to the one conclusion. Behind the matter, behind the day, behind the night, behind your waking state, behind your all experiences of happiness, joy, coming back to one point only, one point. And that is the Vedanta, seeing that oneness, and one is the source of everything. Now, 8th verse on page 125. Aranyor nihito yato veda, aranyor nihito yato veda, garbhaivo subhrito garbhinivi, garbhaiva subhrito garbhinivi. Dive divo iddayo jagribadvihi. Dive divo idyo jagrivat harvi. Vismadvir manushye viragnihi. Vismadvir manushye viragni. Etad vaitat. Giving the understanding, the garvini bhihi subrataha garbha eva. Like a pregnant woman taking good care of the child in their wombs. In the same way, the fire resting between the two fire sticks. You take two fire. In the earlier days, now we have matchsticks. We have many other ways of burning a lamp. Previously, people used to rub two dry wood and rub. You need great strength to rub in such a way the fire splint comes. So as the fire is hidden into the wood, you see a piece of wood, you don't see the fire there. But Aranya, in the fire is hidden. So similarly, Nihito, the fire which is resting between the two fire sticks, Jatovedaha Agnihi, the sacrificial fire, which consumes everything offered to the part by part, that is the Hiranyagarbha. Jagrivadvi, Hovismadvi, Manushyevihi. In olden days, they used to offer everything to the fire of homo fire. And that fire will consume anything you give it. On the fire, burning, blazing fire, you give whatever you give, it will burn it. So, by people who are alert about their religious duties and who are well provided with the butter oil and other materials used in the sacrifice, they dive every day object of worship. They, both by the yogins in their hearts and by the ritualistic householders performing sacrifice, etat baitat. That means what he's saying, like a pregnant woman taking good care of the child in her womb. Those who are alert about their religious duties, that means those who are doing the ritualistic sacrificial activity. It is called the performer of the jagna. So what they do, and who are also well provided with butter, oil, and other materials, take care of the sacrificial fire, nestling between the two fire sticks used by lighting the fire. They worship the fire every day. This fire is the well-knowing Virata. This truly is the self that Nachiketa. That means he's saying you in the Virata in this form, what you see behind is hidden, like that fire. That consciousness is behind me. You see two pieces of wood and you don't see the fire, but the fire is hidden into it. If you know how to rub it, and the fire will come out. Similarly, you see this Virata, this reality of the gross universe. Behind this universe, that is the reality hidden there. And if you can find it out, that is the truth you are searching for. In ancient time, householders maintained a sacrificial fire in their home and kept it always ablaze by fire offering oblation. They took great care of the fire as a mother takes care of the child in her womb. That is the comparison. And the fire was lit by rubbing two dry wooden sticks together. When the fire appeared, they placed one stick upon the other and tended it carefully. So to keep the fire, you are constantly putting some oblation. That's why the ghee, the buttermilk, and clarified buttermilk is offered. The other pieces of wood is offered. So to make it go continuously going on. And even now I heard that there in South India, there are some places where people then in their home, there is a fire continually going on for 500 years. Some more may be there, but at least one or two places I heard that there is continuously going on. Say, so many years the same flame is continuing. That means you are nurturing that. Yes.
Swami, isn't it Manikarnika gods? Don't they have the one flame that people...
Yeah, maybe, yeah. They take from that and ignite it. Yeah.
But the one place in South India that I'm aware of, there are many, is in Kerala, the ones in the Namboodiris, or the Brahmins. They live in illams. Their homes are called illams.
Eh?
Their home, the traditional home, family home, will be several hundred years old. So, it's kept up from generation to generation. It's called an illam. And they have this fire which they nurture, which is never allowed to go out. So somebody has to be up
always
24 hours to make sure.
Watch that.
The Swami in San Francisco comes from that.
Yeah, that I told you. He told me that in their family home, they have some fire continuously for last 500 years. It's a traditional way of keeping the fire, because in those days it is a tradition. It's Orthodox family, they still continue to that.
Temples, Nandadeepa is always there. Yeah, that is also a tradition. Like from at least 500,000 years, the lamps are always lit. You cannot extinguish it.
That means someone need to nurture it. Someone needs to nurture. Here the example is that as the fire is hidden, as he said, the fire was lit by rubbing two dry wooden sticks together. And they took great care of the fire. like a mother takes care of the baby in the womb, with utmost care from protecting every direction. So when the fire appeared, they placed on the stick one stick on the other and tended it carefully. Because if you have that experience, we know every time when you do the homo fire, we put two, three sticks and put into the flame, and then you rotate and put it inside where the triangle of wood is desired. And then we are always frightened if the fire is getting extinguished. You have to take utmost care. That's why we put camphor, we put some some sandalwood pieces, chips, or ghee. Just tendering that. It's nurturing that, because it is very precious. It has lit up. If it stops, then you will have to take much more trouble to put it into fire again. So this awakening of the inner soul, when it is done, it is to be nurtured very well, so that we can see what is in this Virata, in this gross universe we see. It is hidden there. If you can rub it in proper way, and the flame comes out in your heart, the experience of that consciousness, no? Then you have to nurture it for some time so that it gets a stable ground, and then you are free. And that is the truth you are to searching for, Ono Chiketa.
So what is this friction, Swami? It's friction.
How do you do? Suppose you are given no fire, you do not have any matchstick or anything.
Right,
I give you 2 pieces, and how will you bring fire?
Yeah, so if you're saying that's a metaphor for us, what is the quality of the friction?
Friction is your sadhana, day and night think. Your cross current saying world is true, you say no, I will see that inner reality inside, that is the consciousness inside. It's a fiction. That's why we cannot do that. Every day we are reading how many times? And if we ask from morning now, who have done once this friction? Yay, come to the point. We are reading every day. We talk big Vedantic talks. But if we really ask ourselves, hey, this 24 hours passed, this at least morning 4:35 o'clock I came up, and now it is 8:30. So how many times when you think that the inner flame, that is friction. There is no friction. That's why no friction, no wood is wood. We don't see the fire. If your friction starts, then it becomes heated. Little heat, and little more heat, and comes to the flaming temperature, and the boom. And then as soon as it comes, you have to take utmost care to protect that, because it may go away, because initial state. So that is the friction. Our spiritual practice, our again and again thinking and reflecting on this truth, and to probe into the matter, our all experience, that is the friction. Yes?
But here, Nikhilananda Swami gave another explanation of Arun.
Read out what is given.
I don't know what
You can take the microphone there. It's too small for me. Aronis means the fire sticks, the sacrificial fire, Agni, that is kindled, rubbing 2 pieces of wood together in a churning fashion. These 2 aronis can be taken metaphorically to be referring to the both Purusha consciousness and Prakriti, the subject and the object. They are identified with the Supreme Reality as their 2 movements of His being when all the creation arises. No, there is nothing contradiction. It is the same thing. It's Purusha and Prakriti. You need not have to think Purusha Prakriti. You can think there is the hidden energy, and that energy is the light, and that light is hidden, and go straight Vedantic idea. You can think the Sankhya way, you can think Purusha Prakriti, and churning up that is bringing something. Agni is the most important and the universal Vedic God. In the physical, and actually before the metaphysical God like Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, all these came, ancient India, they used to worship fire God. That was for protection, for their use also. With the fire they can start their cooking, cleaning, doing all the day-to-day living. So they used to not think this fire as fire, but fire God. So the most important and the most universal of Vedic gods, in the physical world, he is the all-devourer. That's why fire consumes everything. We say 1400 acres of forest has been consumed by the fire. No? And the firefighters are fighting strong. We get this news. So fire consumes the consumption, and he is also the purifier through his devouring. By consumption, he purifies everything. He is the medium that prepares and perfects. He is also the agent of assimilation and producer of energy. He is the dynamic life energy and creates the essence of rasa of all things, the essence of their substantial being and the essence of their delight. Agni, among all the five elements, is the only one that always rises upward. Psychologically, Agni is the force of will, Ichha Shakti, which directs the thought flow towards the supreme light of the divine to enlightenment and liberation. If you want to make it complicated, you can go to many other things. But to want to understand simply, fire is there, it is hidden, and that energy is the divine energy in us. Try to reach there. And these are good things. If you want to make your head reel much more, bring some other commentary. Yes.
Swami Sarvadevananda's book, actually on page 190, gives a very literal and therefore very clear description.
Yeah, read out.
Oh, so it's two long paragraphs. I don't know if anybody wants to hear, but if you have that out.
So you can synopsis, make a synopsis.
Swami, let me read. In Vedic sacrifices, the fire is lit not from any glowing coal or from other scientific contrivances as a cigarette lighter or a matchbox. The auspicious fire is generated for installation in sacrifices by rubbing two pieces of wood in a wooden cup hole scooped out in another piece of wood. The rod is pressed into the hole by one wick and another Brahman with a piece of string wound around the vertical rod, which makes it revolve continuously in its wooden cup. The wooden piece with which the revolving rod is pressed down, that is the upper stick, is called the Uttararani, whereas the lower rod, the stick, is called the Adhararani. So the Adhararani, near the edge of the cup, is placed some cotton. The wood pieces rubbing against each other generate heat by friction, and it is sufficient to set fire to the cotton pieces. This fire is then tended in the Havan Kunda. The fire once lit is never allowed to die. So in short, he gives us a very easy image to understand.
It is not easy image, it is the way they used to do that.
Yes.
Because I never saw it, I am saying it is rubbing like that.
Yes.
And it is a tradition, they are saying that there is a scoop-like thing in a wood, and there is another thing they used to rub like that, churning, so that friction, and creates ignite the fire. Anyhow, to ignite the fire. That's why the bottom one is called the Adhara Arani, and it is called the Uttara Arani. And Uttara, Adhara, these are Sanskrit terms we know, which is below, what is above. So these two rubbing creates the fire. Anyhow, the same Brahman.
The sacred fire has 5 flames, or the sacred fire has 5 flames.
5 flames. Yeah, they say. Saptarshi also. In the Upanishad it says flame has 7 lelayate. It is in the which Upanishad? The Saptajivha. It has 7 tongues, not 5 tongues. They what is the name of the 7? There are there. As if that's why when you offer any oblation, that the rule is there, give in the right eye, on the left eye, in the right eye, left eye, in the mouth, where the flame is high. Those are the different names. In Vedic time they used. We are not familiar with it. But the question is that they used to think it is like a 7-mouthed flame fire. So you put it in every mouth so that it consumed by the by the deity. Deity eats those through the 7 mouths. These are rituals, and rituals have tremendous details we do not know. But our point is not go to the ritual because it will not help us. It is only to help that there is the power, and by churning you can bring out that flame. In this Virat of the universe, you see this universe. By properly churning it, exploring into this, you can see, ignite the divine flame. That is the consciousness. You can see that, feel that, experience that. That is the emphasis of this. Now we have some time. So this okay? This book says that, okay, this Chinmaya Swami says that the same Brahman who is worshipped by the sages in the heart through meditation is worshipped by the householder as the Agni, the fire through sacrifices. The seekers worship the Supreme through meditation upon the significance of Om. The householders worship the same reality that is present in the core of its own manifestation, the fire. So he is saying that two people worship the same supreme reality. The ancient seekers of truth, sages, by meditating here. By meditating that divine consciousness inside. And by the symbolic word is the Om. They used to meditate on the Om. And thinking Om is Satchidananda, as you know, Mandukya Upanishad, you have read that. So here, the householder, they cannot do that, so they are made this easy process to see the fire, in that fire, the presence of that consciousness. Worship being an act in the gross plane of sense objects. Worship, when you do worship, it is in the gross plane, is it not? You are doing worship here. What do? You go to the garden, you pluck flowers, you cut this, you string this, you rub some sandal paste. So it is the plane of sense object. It is a gross activity in the plane of gross world. It needs some prop, which for the sage is provided by the symbol Om, which is needed by gross worship. Spiritual people or those who have little insight, they do the same thing by meditating on the meaning of the Om, that transcendental reality, that immanent reality, that reality which pervades everywhere. They meditate on that. That way they reach. So householders, because they will have to live in the world, they start from there, but the same objective is the same. It means if the names and forms is in Om and fire are removed, the Upanishad says that the truth which is worshipped by the sage and the householder is one and the same. So the significant part, when they are worshipping Om, Omkar Upasana we call it. In the Chandogya they talk about Omkar Upasana, Pranava Upasana. And that is done, but those who don't want to do that in a householder's life, they can worship the fire, but that fire is not, they are not worshipping material fire, but they are worshipping the same consciousness behind the fire. But if you take out the physical part of the householder and the mental power of the manana aspect of the sages, they are worshipping the same, and that is the same. Now, the verse number 9 on page 127. Yataschodeti surjaha, yatascha udeti surjoha, stam yatra chagacchati, astam yatra chagacchati, astam yatra chagacchati, tang devaha sarve arpitaha, tang devaha sarve arpitaha, tadu nanneti kaschana, tadu nanneti kaschana, etad vaitat, etad vaitat. Huh?
What is that they say at the end of each verse? Etat Vaita?
This is that question you raised. Oh, Nachiketa, you asked me. What is that truth? This is that truth. Etat vai tat. Tat. What you want us to know, this is that. What I am telling now, this is that. This is the response of the teacher and the question of the student, Nachiketa. And every time he is saying, oh Nachiketa, you ask that question, this is the thing which you actually searching for. Jataschauditi Suryaha. What wonderful. Jataha, from whom? The sun rises. From whom? And Jat Astam Yatra Chagachati. When the sun sets, where does it go? Where from the sun comes and where the sun sets. Yatra Chagachati. Tang Devaha. That divine entity, that effulgent entity, Devaha, Sarve Arpitatu. And everything is consumed in that. Is everything offered there. Tadu no atteti. No one can transcend that. No one can go beyond that. And that is the question you have asked. That means from that everything comes, that like sun comes, and where the sun sets. And that which is, everything is offered to that reality, and that is that Brahman which you have asked for. That form where the sun rises and wherein it sets, all gods are dependent on that. Here gods means the Devaha, Devata, all Devatas. They are, no one can be independent of that. That means without that there is no other reality. This is truly the question, O Nachiketa, you asked me. And that, this other book translates like that, and that from which the sun rises, from which the sun rises, and into whom it merges. On that, all the devatas, all the gods and goddesses, they depend, and no one goes beyond. That means everything. See, it's a beautiful idea. From the ocean of consciousness, all the divine entities come. Your sun god, moon god, this, that, everything comes out of that and it sets into that. Like the waves on the surface of the ocean. Irma that comes out of the ocean and it floods, but it goes back to the sun again, or ocean again. So it's big or small. It comes from that, it sets into that. And that is the truth. That means what they are talking, everything comes out of that reality and merges into that reality. The idea is that the verse in that everything in this phenomenal world is independent, is dependent on Brahman. There cannot be anything which you think that it is independent. All, because Brahman is there, everything is there. Because the ocean is there, that's why the ripples are there, waves are there, and big waves are there. But if the ocean, you cannot think of wave. Without ocean, you cannot think of wave. So without Brahman, you cannot think of this name and form. You cannot think of this divine energies in the physical world, which you call gods. You cannot think of them. Here, Brahman is not the unmanifested Brahman. The Upanishad is referring to the first manifestation of Brahman, known as Hiranyagarbha, Prana, or Virat. That Brahman, one step down. You remember, Brahman, Ishvara, and Hiranyagarbha. In Hiranyagarbha is the pranic level, energy level. From that, all the energy which you find in the manifested universe has come out. So ultimately it is Brahman, but it is, you can, for better understanding, it is the energy manifesting in so many forms. It says that everything in this world arises from another, is the hub of a wheel and its spokes. The waves cannot be independent of the ocean, and so also the spokes cannot be independent of the hub. If there is no hub, there is no meaning of the spokes. Again, there is the example of the body and the organs. The organs cannot function without the body. So, This bigger one, oh my God, this bigger translation. 2 pages. All finite things have been observed to have a beginning and at the end, transient. Beings are born, and everything that is born must necessarily die out after a period of time. Long after our modern astronomers started their game, in the dim dawn of the history of modern man, known to as European thinkers, the Aryan masters had built a heaven on the Gangetic plains and developed themselves into a generation of supreme human culture, godly culture. The rishis of the Upanishads here declare that the vital truth from which the sun had risen at the time of its manifestation and the factor into which it would merge when it withdraws its manifestation is the state of pure consciousness. Here the word sun is representative of the noun indicating in itself the entire world of finite objects. Sun is one example given. Word sun. Sun means all, moon, stars, galaxies, the earth, planet, and anything created here. Everything comes of the ocean. This idea is there before Tajjalan iti. Upanishad sometimes speaks very briefly. Such brief things that it does not catch our brain. One simple word, Tajjalan iti. This word is so small, you can ignore it. But what it says, Tat, from that, jaw, everything is born. Alam stands and dies. In one simple word, Tajjal, the whole philosophy. Everything comes out that cosmic energy. Now you can say, forget about Brahman. You can say everything is the manifestation of the cosmic energy in the gross form. And then it rolls and moves in the gross and it merges into, again, the form of energy. It comes from the same source, it goes. But this cosmic energy is dependent on Brahman. Therefore, everything is a manifestation of Brahman. Okay? Oh, 5 minutes still there. Okay, we can continue to read this. The eternal absolute, the state of pure consciousness. I am reading the other book, not your book, this Chinmaya book. On the eternal absolute, the state of pure consciousness, page 192, who have the book. Depends all the devas. The word deva here does not mean the denizens of heaven. It only means the 5 fundamental elements. They are called devas because they are considered in Vedanta as the presiding deities of the 5 sense organs. Here, we have to confess that greatest blasphemers of all such statement in our scripture. When ignorance strides forth to act and play the part of wisdom, such atrocities must necessarily come to be enacted. He is always hitting the Western thinkers. Let us try to understand the importance of the statement made by the Upanishad in the light of the scientific discoveries of our own time. Page 193. The sense organs, ear, is declared to be the presiding over by Akash. Upanishad says, ear is a sound. Sound happens where? In the space, is it not? So space is connected with the ear. But our modern scientists will admit that sound can be created and conveyed only in the space. So how the ancient seers have related this, understood this. If there are no space, no sound would have been generated or conveyed. The world that lies beyond the concept of space, dear God, is presides in the space. Is controlling the space. If there is no space, there is no devata. So when so long you have the ear functioning, it is related with the space. So similarly, in a dark room, for all our struggles to see, we shall see nothing but darkness. When the room is lit, we see the objects. Thus in the presence of the objects, the eyes cannot see them except when there is a blessed but they are blessed by the principle of light. Now, light is connected with the eyes, no? Your eyes is meaningless if there is no light. Your eyes in the instrument of eye to be presided over the visible source of all light, the sun. Thus, when approached in a spirit of sympathetic understanding, research and discovery, we shall find clothed in the frocks of Vedic frills and ancient ribbons, where reveals eternally the deathless eve of truth, which is for all times and all people. So he's saying that modern science can easily find out this and identify with the ancient sages. If the modern educated Hindu reach the doors of their own scriptures only to laugh at and to ridicule it, let them remember that they are laughing at their own ignorance and lack of understanding. Thus, the mantra, now coming to conclusion, that the mantra declares that all the 5 great elements depend entirely upon the Supreme Self, the pure existence. The deities of the 5 sense organs, they are called the gods, the spokes of wheel upon the hub. But for the central hub, we all know for certain that the different spokes can neither maintain themselves nor function effectively in strengthening the wheel. Thus the truth, which is the substratum for the fundamental elements, is that which you have been asking for. That means you look at, oh Nachiketa, you are looking at this physical universe. You see the physical elements, earth, air, fire, water, etc. And that is the grounded on the reality of Satchidananda. That is the expression of energy, and energy is with these 5 elements: space, eyes, ears, etc., with the corresponding space, light, and all.
Swami, the world that we live in, if year, the god of the year is presided over by space and the light instituted by the eye, the god of the eye, and so on. In the dream world, how do these things, what parallels do we see to this of this in the dream world? Because in the dream world, we really don't need space to convey sound. Now we do need the eyes to perceive light.
Where?
In the dream
And
world.
dream, yeah.
So what is it that mimics sound and light in the dream world? Is it the mind?
Yeah, it is a subtle.
All things?
That is
or
the
is it the tanmatras?
Tanmatras. Because this is the gross. This gross earth is not only earth element here. Earth have other elements of the space. It takes a space. You cannot take a lump of clay. When you take a lump of clay, you take some space. So its space element is there. It has water element. It has all the other 5 elements are included, but majority of the element is called the earth element. Similarly, in the fire element, they say fire is the major expression, but elements put together makes the gross things. When you go to the dream state, that is only tat matra. It is called tat matra. Tat means that alone. Water is only water. Air is only air. Light is only light, like that. Eyes, etc. And corresponding the subjects are earth element is earth element, water element is water element. This is the subtler part. And when it comes to this gross universe, according to Vedanta, it's a mixture of all other elements. No one comes independently in the gross. It's a mixture and mixture. But in the subtle level, you experience the only essential element of each. You are thirsty, you drink water. No? Suppose you are dreaming and someone pours this water in your mouth, what will happen? It will not make any good to your sleep, rather it will disturb your sleep. Dream. So, and the dream water is given now. Okay, you are thirsty, I give you drink dream water. What will happen? Your thirst will not be quenched. So that's why two levels of consciousness, waking consciousness and dream consciousness, there are the grosser level and subtler level. And then you go to the causal level, in the sleep condition. All is there, but in such a causal level, no expression of anything. And that's why we come back again to the subtle to the gross. Gross to subtle every day. Involution, evolution. Involution, evolution. Individual life. We are having every day our involution and evolution.
So at the dream level, the mind really is the substrate.
Yeah, mind is the major thing. Mind creates everything.
All the other things, the subtle water and whatever, all of them are really conjured by the mind.
Yeah, but mind is also subtle.
It is.
Yeah.
But the gods of the air and you and I and so on, they're so minimal because without the mind, none of these things.
But mind is also energized by whom? Now go one step. That you go one step down. You go one step down. Mind is not self-sufficient. Mind is powerful there. But mind is nothing. Mind is supported by some energy. That is the cosmic Hiranyagarbha energy. The mind in the subtle level is that's why called Tejas state.
But in the causal state, the mind might wither to its...
Mind is there, but mind is there, non-functional.
But it persists.
It is there, but it is not functional. It is as if not there. You are, but you are inactive. As Sri Ramakrishna said, the snake is just coiled up. It's a full energy is there, but it is sleeping, so it does not have any power.
But the ability to get up and strike.
Oh yeah, that is doing every day. That mind is doing with us. Okay, so let us end. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvisha Bahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace, peace.